Do you ever hear people talking about their side hustles and think, why not me? Well, what's stopping you? We worked with HubSpot to create a database of 100 side hustle ideas that you can start now. Everything from design and real estate to public speaking and wellness. There's something in there for everyone. Plus, we cover the skills you need and the investment you'll probably have to make to get started. Ready to break out of your 9-to-5? Go to HubSpot.com/THDS to download for free. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, December 5th. I'm John Weigell with Juliet, Bennett, Ryla, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. You might be pretty excited to get your Spotify Wrapped today, but we also have tons of info on what people researched most on Wikipedia. Wikipedia, with over 18 billion page views per month, is one of the most visited websites annually. So let's dig into what people were looking up in 2024. We'll get to that in a bit, but first, let's give you the news in business and tech. To get us started, here's a new amenity that clubs and resorts can add to the list for the uber-wealthy clientele. The Endless Surf Wave Basin is debuting with the new Cabo Real Surf Club in Los Cabos, Mexico. The invention is exactly what it sounds like and sets the unit price for property in the community at $2.5 billion. Of course, this pool just shoots waves at you, so for surfers, it seems like a great fun time. Next, this year's Stanley Cup could be a Trader Joe's bag for $3.99. Trader Joe's just launched a new hard-sided, collapsible, reusable grocery bag, and the internet is very excited about it. I don't really know why. The tote is available in stores right now, but some eBay listings are selling it for about $40. So if you want this bag, you can still buy it in the store. No need to order it online. Next, a South Carolina parent is suing Mattel over its Wicked Dolls packaging, which mistakenly features a URL to a pornographic website. She claims her young daughter visited the site, causing both of them, quote, emotional distress. The musical adaptation remains, though, a behemoth at the box office, grossing $360 million globally. Juliet, what do you make of this URL mix-up?
I think it is pretty surprising, honestly, that someone didn't go through and check it. You know, I get how it could happen, Wicked being the name of an adult entertainment company and Wicked also being the name of the movie. Like, it's not like it's some sort of stretch, like they made up a completely new thing. But at the same time, it's like, where is your QA on this? Right. And, you know, I think it's especially egregious, and the mom might even have a case because this is not just like a random product like laundry detergent. It is a product specifically
for children,
meant for children. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think that on their LinkedIn jobs page, they're posting something about research assistant right about now. They kind of need somebody to get in there.
Seriously. And I feel bad for whoever made this mistake, but it's just like, okay, that was kind of a big one.
It's pretty rough. From there, we go to Gen Z. Gen Z is in a bit of credit card debt right now. Gen Z members of Credit Karma, average credit card debt went up 3.2% from Q1 to Q2 this year. And at the same time, the average for millennials, Gen Xers, and baby boomers went up by 2.4%, 2%, and 1.6% respectively. The rise of digital wallets and buy now, pay later apps is said to be a big reason for this debt. And finally, Realtor.com says U.S. home prices are going to increase in 2025, which is great news. Yeah, for sure. We all knew that. But what places will you see the highest increases? They might not be where you'd think. You can find out at the bottom of the ninth of the pod right after the main story. And on to the main story. While we're all parsing through our Spotify Wrapped, let's dive into what most people were learning about on the internet this year. Wikipedia gets 18 billion page views per month, but some things clearly stood out this year. Juliet, can we first get some background on just how big Wikipedia has been for so long?
Yes, Wikipedia is the 7th most visited website in the world. Let's just be clear that we are going to drill down and only talk about English language Wikipedia, but there are Wikipedias available in something like over 300 languages. Mm-hmm. So just English alone this year had over 76 billion views worldwide. Wow. So that's English speakers, but also English speakers anywhere in the world or people who read Wikipedia in English. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, what I think is so interesting about Wikipedia is that I think initially when it first came about, people were like, oh, well, this is just like this free website that anyone can edit. But that's actually not true. There's a very vigorous process for editing.
Right.
And some experts have argued that it's actually one of the most reliable sources of information available on the internet due to the careful sourcing. And of course, these diligent editors, you can try to go in there and muck around and make some untrue claims, but you will probably get caught and your edits will be undone pretty quickly. So, I think people still say don't use this as your number one source, but the sources are in there. And a lot of people use it for just casual looking up information, reading about a movie, reading about a topic they don't understand, etc.
Yeah, it definitely works. It's a great catch-all for having to learn a few sentences about something and find sources, as you mentioned, for other things related to that topic. And yeah, I can attest. I did try to mess around in Wikipedia maybe in 2006, 2007 in middle school. And they changed it back pretty quickly anytime that I got in there. I believe the Nickelback page was specifically very popular back then. It needed a couple mods on it. But yeah, they will catch you pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So moving to this year, to 2024, what was big this year and what were people looking at on Wikipedia? I have a pretty good idea, but I would love to know.
So the biggest topics, if we're combining the top 25 pages, if we're looking for commonalities, are going to be politics, controversies and crime, and entertainment. Mm-hmm. Topping the list, the number one most looked at Wikipedia page of 2024 with 44.4 million views was a list of deaths in 2024. And interestingly, that list has ranked third place or higher every year since Wikipedia began releasing viewer data in 2015. So for some reason, people want to know who died in a given year. It's a little morbid, but that's what people are looking at.
Yeah, makes sense, I guess, kind of.
And then if you look at the rest of the top 25, you will find a lot of politics, largely centered in the United States. People were looking at just the general page for the U.S. presidential election. And then they were also looking at the different candidates. So Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, Tim Walz, J.D. Vance, Robert F. Kennedy was in there. So Joe Biden, who was the Democratic nominee for the first part of the year. So lots of interest in the U.S. political election. And then kind of an interesting third thing is, had a lot of like crime and controversy come up. Mm-hmm. And that's interesting too, because one of the top pages was for Sean Diddy Combs, who, got arrested and charged with sex trafficking and, a whole host of other horrible allegations this year, but also some older crimes. One was Lyle and Eric Menendez, two brothers who were accused of murdering their parents in 1989. They've been in prison for that crime, but there is a renewed interest because of Netflix. There was a show called Monsters. It was very controversial, with some people saying that it was inaccurate. So that came out. So everyone's like Googling and looking to try to, okay, what was the case? What's the difference here? And then also there is news that they'll be resentenced next year. So there's a lot of renewed interest in that case. Wow. And then Griselda Blanco, a Colombian drug lord who died in 2012, also was topping the list. Why? Netflix. Netflix did a thing on her. And now everyone's like, yeah, we want to look her up.
I am definitely one of those page visits. I watched the show and had to look it up immediately after. But it's really funny how Netflix, only Netflix too, like no other like streaming shows really came up in this top of the list. But really funny how Netflix is driving a lot of Wikipedia views. Like I would imagine that even in 2020, 2021, maybe Joe Exotic would have been Wikipedia'd a ton at that time as well for Tiger King. So it's very interesting to see the kind of hold they have on pop culture right now.
Yes, Jeffrey Dahmer got a ton of views in 2022. And
Makes
obviously
sense.
He was committing crimes, not in 2022, but
long ago.
There was Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, a 10-part biographical crime drama released by who else? Netflix, starring Evan Peters in 2022. So if you are a criminal and Netflix does a thing on you, especially I guess if Ryan Murphy is involved, you're going to make it back into the rankings.
I mean, true crime is always at the top of mind for a lot of people nowadays.
Right.
Going outside of that sphere, are there kind of any other metrics that you found interesting in your parsing through of this data?
Yeah, it's not uncommon for entertainment or just topics of interest from India to rank high on the English language Wikipedia. It's Cricket League, It's Election, and a Bollywood movie were all on there, along with a couple other big movies that were released this year, Dune being one of them, or Dune 2, I should say.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine was a big one. Taylor Swift, of course, never leaves anyone's headlines. One thing that I found interesting is that outside of like crime and controversy and politics, sometimes there is something that is just so big that happens, that comes into our public awareness, that it tops the list. Interestingly, ChatGPT last year had over 52 million views. This year, I think we are all familiar with it, perhaps a little tired of it. It only got 16.6 million views.
Wow.
And one of the biggest article views of all time came in 2020 with 83.7 million views. I'm sure we can all guess what that was. It was COVID-19.
Oh, great. I find that fascinating. People looking it up on Wikipedia to determine information.
Right.
But also very interesting there as well. Yeah, I mean, it seems like Wikipedia, I really enjoyed that it is still this free site. Of course, you're able to donate, but I really enjoy that it's this free resource all over the web that people look to. And whenever they send out data like this, I find it particularly interesting just to see like what world events really struck people, what world events weren't as interesting to the public, and also what Netflix shows I should watch next. That seems to be one of the other metrics here.
Yeah. And you know, the other day, I wanted to know something that has remained mysterious and elusive to me, and Wikipedia really spelled it out for me. I was in Target and I saw a toilet, a skibbity toilet thing that I could buy.
Nice.
And I was like, I sort of know what this is, but I don't really understand it. And then when we got home from Target, I read aloud the entire Wikipedia page on Skibbity Toilet. And I feel like I understand it as much as anyone does. And then the person I was with said that he was now having an existential crisis. So
yeah,
thank you for that, Wikipedia.
Yeah, especially for the imagery in that article, which I have frequented before. Yeah, you definitely, not for the faint of heart. No, not at all.
No, it's just kind of like, this is it. This is how Rome fell, but this is for us, is Skibbity Toilet.
Yeah, this is our iteration. There you have it. 2024, a Wikipedia rap down the Skibbity Toilet, I guess. All right, we've arrived at the bottom of the ninth of the pod. So here are the top 3 cities that will see the highest increase in home prices in 2025, according to Realtor.com. Didn't expect any of these myself. Number 3 was Tucson, Arizona. Number 2 is Colorado Springs, Colorado. And number 1 is Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale, Arizona. A lot of Southwest love this year. So if you're buying a house, maybe try to go a little eastern. All right, and that'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
If you're struggling to keep up with all the latest innovations in tech and what they'll mean for your life, TED Tech has you covered. Get ahead of the curve with digestible downloads on some of the biggest ideas in technology, from AI and virtual reality to clean tech. Find TED Tech wherever you get your podcasts.